you know, we hear this from the outside of like, yo, he went to the Great Wall. He did this. He he broke his ankle, and then he went back the next day and did it. And you're like, what the hell is this guy's a superhuman?
It sounds like a made up, like it's crazy, like superhero story, but it's real.
Like a fairy tale or like a fable or something. You're like, wow.
Eliminating what ifs is, you know, how do I put it? You know, having a situation like the Great Wall of China, I mean, you can look back and be like, what if for the rest of your life?
Yep.
But if you didn't try, you can't eliminate the what ifs. You know what I mean? So it's like that has been something I've learned throughout my career many times, is like, you know, at least close the idea of like, well, if I would have only tried one more time, or if I only would have done this differently, then the result would have been that. And you know, at least I would have tried and, you know, went off the side of that ramp or whatever. We would have, you know, at least I would have to look back and go, okay, gosh, well, if I only would have tried it one more time, what would have happened?
God, well, you did it.
Yes.
Yeah, you did it, bro.
Do you want to talk about that now or later?
Well, I don't know, dude. Well,
no, let's go back and forth.
Listen, I'm sure the timeline will like end up back there, you know, because it is fascinating, you know, to like us skaters who, you know, we go through an ankle injury or we go through this, but you know, I've never heard of anybody breaking their foot and still going through, you know, it's crazy, you know.
Put yourself in that predicament though, and being in my shoes, like, okay, like, you spent several years trying to put this together. You've got all this money vested in it. You know, I've basically gone around everybody and got them to spend money on this thing. And, you know, and I have one opportunity to do this, and it's like never going to get this chance again.
Yeah, true.
And, you know, I'm sitting there like, well, what am I going to do? Just go home and not try? Like,
Call
how
it
would
off.
I ever be able to live that down? Like,
Totally.
it's, you know, the shame of that would be
outweigh
the consequence of trying and having something else go wrong.
I get you for sure.
So
for sure.
At least I could live with the fact, like, okay, I tried, and I got hurt more, or you know, something else went wrong, and or you know, whatever the result ended up, and if it wasn't success, at least I would have known that I couldn't have tried any harder.
Yeah. But I mean, not only the weight on your shoulders of everybody being involved in this, but you know, the fact that they, you know, made a national holiday so people could watch, and they wouldn't even let you skate the ramp to test it out on the first day, and that's when you got hurt, right? Because you said, I got to do this.
Yeah.
They didn't want me to even step foot on the ramp because they were afraid that the media would, you know, get a clip and leak it out before.
Oh.
So I had to wait, you know, and they had like government officials on the scene, you know, waiting basically till the sun went down to make sure that nothing happened.
Gotcha.
And that one try that I slid in was like the government officials left it like 10 minutes before the sun was, you know, down too far or enough where I couldn't see.
Yeah.
And so I ran up there, and, you know, I was cold. I wasn't warmed up. And like, I was like, I just got to know if the calculations are correct. And found out real quickly that
they weren't.
They were not.
Right. Because they ended up adding an extra lip onto it or something, right?
I looked at it and I could sense that something was off.
Oh, straight from the get-go.
From the get-go. So I built an extension on it the first go, and I should have built it even bigger. So it wasn't enough. And but I could visually tell that the dimensions were screwed up.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Just the way that the trajectory was going, and then the length of the gap, obviously.
Just how proportionate it was from stepping back from the other side of the valley there. I was looking at it and just going, it just looks like there's not enough rolling.
Right.
And then they also built the deck, like the landing ramp and the deck, like with a square angle, like an edge, you know, that sharp.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of like a hump.
Yeah, which, you know, I could have got a little bit of forgiveness coming up short. You know, I knew right away that was a problem, because I was like, if I come up short, I'm done. Like, there's no getting out of that. It's, and I literally came up like a foot short. You know, it was like that close. And I'm like, do I dive over this thing? You know, should I go head first? Because I might be able to, like,
Superman it.
Yeah. Like, and you only have like a millisecond to make these decisions in that situation. And you're like, if I don't make it over and I'm going head first, I'm going to really get broke off.
Yeah.
You know? And that, I mean, so instinctively, I, you know, decided to go feet first.
Okay.
But man, just like 1 foot further and I would have cleared the edge of that. But that square edge changed everything, you know, and like that was another one of the things that was on my drawings and everything. It was supposed to be a rounded lip, because I would have been able to get away with it. If it was rounded, I would have been able to squeak in. Yeah.
So what exactly happened? Your foot hit the edge of it, or?
You know, it's an angle like that.
Sure.
I just came up like a foot short.
Okay.
Landed on my right ankle. and then tumbled into it.
Man.
You know, you're going like close to like probably 45, 48 miles an hour on that.
Oh my God.
And you just like the rag dog.
Yeah.
So,
But
What did you break exactly?
Yeah, exactly. What did you break?
I broke the end of I had like an avulsion fracture on the inside of my ankle, on my tibia.
Okay.
And then the end of my fibula back here on the edge. So
It broke in two places.
yeah, ripped the tendon off the bone.
Wow.
So it was pretty trash. Like I would have never tried to do anything on that injury like that. I mean, it took a special like situation like that to get me like in the mindset where I'm like, no matter what, I gotta do this. Like, there's not really anything else I can do but do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I assume the minute that happened, you're laying there being like, holy, like, I'm sure there was so many emotions going through your body. Like, wow, this is a disaster.
Like the worst thing, basically.
Yeah, worst possible scenario.
I was very familiar with the distance of that gap, like, you know, and I made the gap a little bigger for that jump because I wanted it to be like a record-sized jump.
Okay.
But it wasn't anything that I was like, it would have been that foreign to.
Right.
You know, the issue with the design is what really screwed it up. Like, there was an issue with, you know, the government had like appointed their workers, like they had to have like their crew working with my crew.
Got you.
Just, you know, for cultural reasons.
Right.
There was a language barrier though, because our guys didn't speak Chinese and those guys didn't speak English, and they're working in metric and we're working in standard.
A lot of
so there was
variables.
Tons of variables, and a lot of things got lost in translation.
Wow.
And you know, so but the jump that was, you know, it was something that I was pretty comfortable with.
Sure.
But you know, in that circumstance, just I mean, it didn't work out the way it was supposed to. But normally, I would have been able to, you know, do that. So I went into it with a pretty like, I got this mentality, you know, and I was planning on like sessioning the thing. Like I wanted to, you know, film a couple of cool tricks over the wall. Like that was my vision when I was going over there. It wasn't like I'm going to get hurt and it's just going to be a survival mode situation. Yeah. I was like, man, I'm going to be able to do like, you know, if I can session this thing for an hour, I can probably get like 10 cool tricks over and have like a little video segment, you know, that I'd filmed over that thing. And that was what I was really hoping for.
Yeah.
So once the ankle injury happened, I was just like, man, I just got to get this done, and turned into a full survival mode situation.
Right.
How did you even think you could recover, or not recover, but how did you think you could even do that?
Yeah, where you're gonna have to wrap that thing.
Yeah, like
order zone shot. Like, what did you?
When did you make the decision of like, okay, I can, if I do whatever I need to do for the ankle, I could pull this? Was it that day or the next day or?
I mean, immediately, you know, my mentality was like, let's go to the hospital and see what's going on, and like, let's figure out what we can do to like get through this, you know. Right. So I had a friend with me that was an American doctor. And we went to the hospital, and there was like an American trained doctor there, so she knew how to speak English, and basically gave us, you know, access to all of the supplies in the surgery or in the emergency room there. Okay. And so we went and got all kinds of things, you know, just like lidocaine and you know, basically all the wraps and things I would need. Gotcha. I had a lot of stuff with me already. Sure. I came, with the idea what happens if I get hurt. So I had some stuff, but for the most part, what I really relied on was the lidocaine.
The numbness.
We numbed
the thing
up. Yeah, we numbed it up, which was,
you can't feel your foot.
No, that.
Wait a minute, back foot or front foot?
Back foot.
Oh.
So that became a problem because, definitely needed the lidocaine to be able to endure the pain.
Right.
But it did leach into the bottom of my foot. So, at first I was like, okay, this is going to work. And then the more the time went on, I started feeling my foot getting numb.
Oh, God.
And then I started having problems with knowing where my foot was on the tail of the board.
Oh, my God.
Like I was like sitting up there, like about to drop in, like having to like make sure it's in the right spot.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
dude.
I'm just thinking like I get my tooth done and I can't drink water properly. Yeah. Like imagine trying to skate.
No, like dead foot. Like
drop in on this huge ramp. Yeah.
Yeah. It was an interesting feeling to have like a numb. It felt like I had like a club. Like, I don't know if you if you surf in the wintertime, you might know this feeling, but yeah, when your feet get numb out there, it's like your feet almost feel like they're like foreign objects attached to you. Dude. So that was, a bit of a challenge, but I had to wrap, I numbed it with lidocaine, and then I wrapped it and did all the bracing and all that stuff. And, once I, shot it, like once I jumped over it the first time, and I had to walk up those stairs to drop in. It was like, 10 stories to get up to the top of that thing. So doing that, and then just like once my adrenaline started pumping and like my blood started flowing, it's like, I could kind of like, see that I could get through this. Like I started to go, okay, I got this. Like, it was just that first drop in though. I was like, who knows what's going to happen right now? And
well, that's the thing I was going to ask is how do you even get warmed up for something like that? Like, how do you
climb 10
stairs?
Get warmed up at 10 flights.
I know, but I mean, just that bored feeling and like, oh man, it's numb. I mean, listen, like you said, you it's something that you're used to doing, but still, there's that now that this numb factor,
Yeah, the numb factor was definitely a twist, but and the way that we built that rolling, it was on top of like a little wall that teed off the main part of the wall, and there was 50-foot drops on each side of that thing. We built like a little like barrier wall after the first like the first day I didn't have that. So the idea of taking a hard right or left and flying off that wall was in my mind in the beginning, but the next day, I mean, regardless if that would have happened or not,
right?
It was I had the wall there, but it was still on my mind. Like what happens if I drop in and it gives out? Like,
oh my god,
am I going to shoot off this jump and fly to the side, to the right or to the left, or am I going to come up short and land in the back of the ramp? Like, so all those things are going through my mind. And once I jumped over it and I was like, oh, I cleared it, and I landed in in the sweet spot where I could land. I was like, okay, I got this. But definitely. Yeah, that was probably the most challenging scenario I've ever had in any predicament.
Did anyone else know other than like obviously your doctors and stuff? Did the other officials know that you broke your ankle?
No, not really. No, I didn't really. Other than just my close friends and family that were there, like nobody really knew what was going on. They just knew I took a hard fall, and
okay. You didn't throw out an Instagram post.
There was an Instagram at that time. It was like right before the social media era. Which
throw out a tweet.
What happened?
What year was that? I'm sorry.
2006 or 5 or 6. I don't know. I forget. You can look it up, but I think it's 2006.
I mean, obviously, it probably felt.
That was a 5.
Okay.
2005.
All right.
It probably felt awesome, but when you landed, what happened? Like, what was going through your body? Like,
you were probably relieved.
Then I had to stare at this quarter pipe going close to 50 miles an hour.
Okay,
I wasn't that relieved. If you watch the videos of me dealing with that, because the other thing that happened is they built the quarter pipe way too close. The landing ramp of that thing was twice as long as it normally would be.
Oh, okay.
And then the flat bottom ended up twice as short as it's supposed to be.
So you didn't have that time.
So I had twice as much landing ramp to catch more, to build up more speed. And then I came into the bottom and there was hardly any flat bottom. So like, if you watch the video, you can see me speed wobbling all the way through the apex of the tranny on the bottom of the rolling, all the way into the air. You can see like a slight wobble, and I'm literally like just hanging on for dear life.
I can imagine.
My God,
if I wobble out, like the Jake Brown situation, that was,
it's real.
Jake hadn't had that happen yet, but I was visualizing that in my mind the whole time. Like if I wobble out and I get ejected, it's going to be, and
game over.
So that was one of the biggest fears I had. Once I knew I could get over that, then I'm like, okay, now I got to deal with the quarter pipe.
How many times did you do it? How many times did you jump it?
5 times.
5 times.
Yeah.
What was the point of jumping at 5? Did different tricks or what were you?
It was dealing with the quarter pipe. Like I was just like I did. I jumped it the first time and I purposely jumped off just to make sure that the distance was there. Yeah. And then I made it 4 times in a row. But I was struggling with the quarter pipe because of that factor I was just telling you about with the speed wobbles, and there was also like a tailwind that was blowing super hard, so like pushing me. So I was getting this extra speed, and then I was also drifting over the deck of the ramp. And that quarter pipe was like, the normal mega ramp quarter pipe's 27 feet tall.
Okay.
That one was 32 feet tall. So I made everything a little bit bigger. I was hoping that it would all worked out. The calculations had been on point, because I wanted to do a bigger air than I ever done before. And that was like, I had the speed because of the landing ramp was so big. I was like, okay, this is like maybe the opportunity to like raise the bar on the high air stuff.
Okay, so you were saying that you wanted to, it was a quarter pipe that was giving you problems. Do you consider if you don't do the quarter pipe, it wasn't like a make, it wasn't like a line, or is it just cool? You did the mega, awesome, whatever happens next, or is it that line that makes you feel like you did it?
Well, it just depends what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
I was there to jump the wall.
Right.
So like the quarter pipe is almost like it's like the hay bales or something. It's like,
okay.
what do you do with all that speed? How do you scrub that speed? Yeah. Without a quarter pipe, what are you going to do? Make a runway out for like a half a mile?
Parachute.
Parachute.
Slow down like the space shuttle.
The quarter pipe, it's jumping the wall was the goal with that.
Okay.
Although in my mind, I really wanted to make sure that I made just to have the line, for my personal satisfaction.
Sure.
But it wasn't important. And at the point where I was at, like with how, hurt I was, and then just knowing how fine of a line it was before I wobbled out and got ejected off that quarter pipe, like. I felt like I walked away at the right time, Right.
Mm-hmm.
And walking up those stairs, and it was also like one of the hottest days, like in China that they had all year, and it was super humid. So, I was completely exhausted by the fifth try I went on. Like I was literally so, lightheaded and dizzy, and I was just like, man, am I gonna, am I getting greedy? Should I just walk away and just call it?
Yeah, you got to know when to fold them.
In that situation, I think I did the right thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you did it 5 times.
Yeah, I jumped it 5 times. I mean,
you didn't get the video part, but you made history.
No, I mean, I did. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm always like hard on myself.
We're our own worst critics.
I'm never satisfied. So,
Yeah.
I really wanted to make, an error on that quarter pipe. And,
dude, look at this right here.
I know,
It's-
dude.
Yeah. Well,
For anybody that's looking,
amazing.
he's a little speck over there in the middle of the photo.
Yeah, this
Jeez.
is
yeah, it was
I
you know,
can't even
wild.
imagine, bro.
Yeah, wait, was it your idea to do this?
it was my idea, and just it's crazy how quickly we were able to make it happen just based on like my manager was out at at Coachella, and we just been bouncing these ideas around, and this was one of them. I was just in China, like for some product that we're developing that had to do with skateboarding, but I was down there and checking out some factory, and on the way back there was just like on the magazine in the seat back pocket on the plane there was a photo of the Great Wall, and I was just like bing.
Yeah.
And like the mega ramp stuff was starting to evolve pretty quickly, so I was like, man, it would be so cool to like find a location to build this thing to kind of put it in perspective, because being out in the desert, it's really hard to get scale, it's not really doing it justice. So that jumped out at me, and then my manager was out at Coachella just partying, and he bumped into somebody at one of the parties at Coachella, and the guy was like, my dad's really connected down there, and he could probably make that happen, and and next thing I know, I'm down there meeting with the government, and this is all unfolding. It's like craziest story of how it all came together, because it's like some guy at Coachella at a party.
Yeah.
You think he's just drunk or whatever.
This guy's full of shit over here.
Dude, but the guy was connected enough. He made it happen, man. It was like craziest thing.
It was meant to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible, man. Well, congrats on that. Like you said, you made history, bro. That's a fucking gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
I've never been to the Great Wall. I'd love to go one day and check it out, but
Well,
Danny Way, bro.
maybe we'll have to do a 2.0 Great Wall.
Listen, I need to be there. I need to be there, bro. I need to be there.
Well, it's so funny
tell
because when
people if the
when we
ramp's
go
not right.
skate China, if you're skating the streets, people look at you like they're like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Right.
I couldn't imagine
Kind of a
what they looked
spectacle.
like. What's he
Yeah.
doing? What's this ramp?
I mean, not to mention that they had a day of work free so people could watch this on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking billions of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a trip, man.
Pay-per-view, you could have made a fortune.
That is a paper.
I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I think it was a little, considering how things have evolved with social media and just skateboarding and, everything since then till now, like the evolution of our industry and just, how many people care and, now it's in the Olympics and stuff. I just think that maybe it was a little bit premature of being able to get
Interesting, yeah.
it didn't have the ability to reach so many, although it did reach the whole, Chinese, population.
Sure.
On the day off that they had, but
Right.
for the most part, yeah, it was, looking back at it now, I was like, man, it was still pretty underground that era. So
they charge everybody $1, bro.
But nowadays, I think, if you said, I'm going to go jump the Great Wall of China, people would make a much bigger deal out of it.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Especially with social media and everything, man.
Yeah, I had a lot of people like not believing that it was going to even happen.
Damn, proved them wrong.
That's damn true.
Where is that like button? Right? Is it right here or right here?
Just a little scroll coming down the bottom.
It's
Subscribe.
over to it's on your
It's on my
left.
right? It's on
No,
my
on your
left.
left.
Hey,
Yeah.
hit that
there.
button right there.
Right there.
Right there.
Yeah, please.
The like button's kind of like in the middle there. It's like we're kind of like
it's like right here?
Kind of.
Like right
and
there?
the subscribe's like over to the left.
It's like right over there. All right.